Why was the Glazers takeover so controversial? Well, the simple answer to that question is the Glazers didn't use their own money to buy Manchester United.
We all know that. This is the biggest heist in modern world. I mean, we could talk about the, La Casa de Papel, that story, like money heist, right? How they robbed the bank cleverly. But these guys led and orchestrated, but no other than Ed Woodward people.
You've got to go back 18 years when they took over the club. It cost them around £790 million, but they didn't use their own.
£790 million they only paid. But we're going to dive into that, how they became the owners as well.
It's time to go!
Before we continue with our story, we need to understand what shaped our past, who created our values, our culture, our history, who died in that Munich blast. Glazers out, we can scream and shout. You can take our money but never raise our past.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
So hear us say to the Lord we pray, these are the people that made our DNA. We are Glory, Glory, Man United. Fucking hell, why? But in order to understand why we haven't won a Premier League trophy for 9 years and been horribly wrong, we need to go back in time to understand the power, the greed of the Glazers.
I don't believe that they are.
You won't have that.
What is the biggest heist in modern days sporting industry? It has to be the Glazers. This is criminal what they have done. Everyone knows it, but nobody dares to speak about it, especially in the media. It's not really giving it much attention. But on this channel, we give it all focus and energy on the Glazers to leave Manchester United. And in this video, we're going to take you back in history to really show you, that discuss what they have done and getting away with murder. As we are looming into a potential takeover, this is the time to raise our voices. We will dive into the story of how the Glazers actually came into the power, and hopefully, as a channel, as a global community, we are green and gold until they're left finally and sold. Now, I did a little bit of a recording the other day, and I was watching Sky Kave, who speaks facts. And on this channel, we call a spade a spade. So I would like to bring in Kave to the stage, and we will react in what Kave has to say with our own opinions. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. Remember, bank is out, Glazers out, full sale only. Please subscribe and don't forget to like. Let's bring in Kave to the stage and listen to what Kave has to say about the Glazers.
Out of their own pocket, or has it been money that the club has generated? Well, you have to say, Manchester United, if it wasn't for the Glazers, they would be a hugely successful club.
That's the thing, that's what we're going to talk about. Like, if Glazers had run this as a proper football operation, if they were smart people, Manchester United, they would be so rich if they did the right thing. But no, they'd use this as a cash cow. Like, they bought it a leverage buyout. And let's continue.
They don't need a sugar daddy. They don't need rich owners. And also, they don't need anybody taking money out of the club. So I know lots of rival fans will say, well, look at the Glazers. They've spent lots of money on transfers. The important thing to remember is that money is Manchester United's money.
Exactly. They took the money that we generated. They never spent one single penny. Not one single penny, people. Let that sink in. They took money that belonged to the club. But they can say, oh yeah, they spend a lot of money. Yeah. but on the wrong players. 1 billion spent. But was it the manager's choice? No, it was run by the banker's choice, who got some information from some guy they had a beer with in the sports pub. Pick up Kabe.
Is money that United had generated. And if it wasn't for the Glazers and the money that's been taken out of the club, they would have probably generated even more money, and that would have meant more money spent on transfers and the stadium and other parts of the infrastructure.
Big up, because that is the honest truth. I mean, if you are an owner of Manchester United, which is the biggest club in the world, if you were smart enough, you would have invested to get more money. But here you are 18 years later, you kicked that, you milked that cash cow dry. So you had to go to a strategical review, either to sell the club or seek minority investors. We know they went they tried to get 25%, but I can't remember who it was. I think it was Aries Group. They tried to say, and they looked at it and said, "Are you mad? The way you are running the business, why should you give you like 1.4 billion? No way."
Why was the Glazers takeover so controversial? Well, the simple answer to that question is the Glazers didn't use their own money to buy Manchester United.
We all know that. This is the biggest heist in modern world. I mean, we could talk about the, La Casa de Papel, that story, like money heist, right? How they robbed the bank cleverly. But these guys led and orchestrated, but no other than Ed Woodward people.
You got to go back 18 years when they took over the club. It cost them around 790 million pounds, but they didn't use their own
790 million pounds they only paid. But we're going to dive into that, how they became the owners as well. Like, let's not forget the history, peeps.
Money. The vast majority of that they borrowed from banks, and instead of being responsible for paying that money back themselves, as soon as they got the keys to Manchester United, they loaded that debt onto Manchester United.
That is criminal. That is criminal. But that's fucking smart as well, isn't it? Yeah, you buy an asset, right? I buy your house, right? I take a loan for your house, and then I put it back into your house. Really? That is criminal, but it's smart.
And United have been paying back that debt over the last 18 years. And guess what? 18 years later, the debt is still 500 million pounds.
500 million pounds. Actually, the report says 1 billion pounds.
But most experts you would speak to would tell you that being owned by the Glazers has cost Manchester United more than £1 billion. Probably some.
Yeah, it's cost us £1 billion because we keep reservicing, paying that debt, that high interest rate. Oh my God, what a clowns.
Somewhere between £1 and £2 billion. Now that is money that has effectively been totally wasted.
Absolutely wasted money. That is the money that could have gone into the football operations. We could have been greater again if they were not doing so. And plus, on top of that, they took dividends. But we have to reservice. We have to pay the interest rate on the debt. Oh my God.
Money has gone to the Glazers, it's gone to investors, it's gone to hedge funds, it's gone to banks, it's gone to lawyers. That money really belongs to Manchester United and its supporters, and it should have been reinvested in the club.
Exactly. So basically, they have fucking robbed us. I'm sorry for swearing, but this is criminal. And how can Premier League just close their eyes and shut the blind out and let this to happen? How come is media not reporting this? The gravy train, the stenographers. No, they like to create other stories and gash stories about gossip about Manchester United. They like to talk shit about xenophobic stuff, about state background, but nobody wants to talk about Ineos and the greenwashing stuff, right? But nobody. The biggest robber in history right in front of your eyes. Why are you not writing that? That is criminal. There is where the elephant in the room is.
Why is taking dividends so controversial when it happens in lots of other businesses? Simple answer to that question is Manchester United aren't just a business. They are one of the biggest football clubs in the world.
Yeah, we are one of the biggest football club in the world. You know what? This is so funny, right? We haven't won a Premier League title for 11 years. We haven't won a Champions League trophy for 11 years either. But we are still the biggest club in the world commercially. You know that just the name Manchester United, the biggest fan base in the world. Just any stenographer or journalist just types a story about Manchester United. You know how much interaction and engagement it gets.
Have a very proud history. They are rooted in their community. So having an owner who takes money out of that club is something that the vast majority, if not all United fans.
You know that, Illusion movie, the famous one, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. They've just pulled another stunt, right? They pulled the biggest trick in the world. Now you see me, now you don't. Malcolm Glazer did this Houdini trick, and then he went away. He died. And then the, Golden Spoon siblings, the greasy yuckers, took over, right? And they haven't done anything more than just damage. They appointed the wrong people in place, made sure the place was toxic, made sure that we were not winning. As long as we made top 4, they were happy because there was money in the bank, TV rights, Champions League, all that stuff. That's all they care about. That's all they care about. They don't care what the manager wants. Manager wants to win. Player wants to win. We had players coming in, top players, that were deteriorating. They came to a graveyard shift. What kind of state of affairs is this?
You'd find a lot of people in the business community who would say what an incredible deal they have done. Can you see a scenario in the near future where the Glazers leave?
Oh, that's a big question. Will they leave? Will they ever leave? I think everything has a price. And I think they were very clear in the strategical review to say everything is for sale, but for the right evaluation price. So let's continue.
I think it's unlikely in the short term. They had an opportunity to leave the club and bank a huge profit. But
They did. That's what the media say, right? But I believe that, if you look at Forbes evaluation, the current evaluation of the club is 4.8 billion, right? That's way too much, right? Who would have come in to bid 6 billion or 7 or 8? Why would you do that? Unless you know a forecast what the club might be worth in 3 years' time, 4 years' time, with digital TV rights and body cams and all that stuff. But that is just speculations, though. That is just a prediction. A forecast means that, hey, I predict the weather is going to be sunshine 3 years from now without any rain. It's like being a farmer. You plant the seed, you plant the crop, and depending on the weather, you might have a successful crop. But if it doesn't rain, it's a drought, it will never turn out. So it's a high risk and reward.
I'm afraid if you're a United...
Yeah. So I'm afraid, people, I'm afraid. Because I always said here, guys, that the only one that could stop this deal is the Glazer himself, right? They've gone through a strategical review, right? They are the only ones that hold the answers, right? They are the ones that are spinning you guys dizzy, including myself. They use Neil Ashton, they use these PR engagements, right? That's my opinion, right? Because it's evidentially, and it's also been documented that, hey, we make lots of money on engagement through social media interactions by just leaking out these stories. Whenever we lose a game, there's always a PR clickbait story that, hey, we are linked to this player, or hey, there's a sale, hey, Sir Jim Rattcliffe is going to buy the club. Oh, just for you guys to forget what's going on there. That's another illusion and smokescreen. And how you do that? Yeah, you pay off certain publications to be loyal to you. I'm not going to call out the names, right? Because everything has a price. There's no loyalty today. There's no loyalty.
It's time to go!
Thank you so much for stopping by and watching Mufc Realist TV. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us on the socials.